We're talking college sports in the Deep South, where college football is king and the battle cry is War Eagle. Once again, it's K-Stu the GOAT for Vernon Speak Sports. We're talking Auburn football like nobody's business. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Matter of fact, before we move on, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And just all you got to do is just click the bell at the top, and we just move on from there. All right. Also, when you get in this thing, let's go ahead and get active in the comment section. I get a lot of good content ideas from the comment section. I'm sorry. As a matter of fact, some of the latest videos have been inspired by a lot of the commentary in the comment section. Go ahead and like the video or unlike it, whatever you decide to do. Like I said before, we talk about Auburn football like nobody's business. We want to think that the SEC conference is the best conference in college football. Arguably, the SEC West, very competitive in its approach to the football game. Very, very physical, especially at the points of attack. All right, so we want to talk about neutral site games. Now, as a caveat to this conversation, whether we like or dislike the neutral site game concept, it's not going to end because there's just so much money generated from these particular games. And before I get too far into the neutral site game, I want to congratulate Jamil Dean and Jarrett Stidham, two former Auburn players recently drafted in the NFL. Of course, Jarrett Stidham getting a great deal in going to the New England Patriots. There are actually a couple other Auburn players who currently are employed by the New England Patriots. Big War Eagle to those guys. So now as we talk about the neutral site games that begin the season, like for example the Evercare Classic, the Kickoff Classic, the ball game that's going, the World Camp game that's going to take place with Miami and Florida. You know, those games are definitely not going away. Now I personally, just for being a college football guy, I just personally like the home-to-home series. As a matter of fact, back in 2003, Auburn was at the completion of its home-to-home series with arguably one of the most iconic football teams in college football in USC. I remember that because I was actually present for that particular game. I didn't go to that game, but our fraternity recently got the house back going. So we had the house, and the house is literally right there on campus, so we were able to tailgate for that game from the house. Also, you know, you think about the pageantry of college football, especially when you bring an iconic team like USC to Jordan-Hare Stadium. Now, we all have heard the infamous fight song of USC, but that thing hits a little bit different when you actually hear it and see the band in person. You see USC on Auburn's campus. That was a really unique experience. Also, going back on YouTube, I was able to dig up a game between Auburn and Texas, where Auburn just demolished Texas. I want to say that game was in 1987. War Eagle. Like I said before, the home-to-home series really, especially in these cross-conference matchups, when you play other conferences like the ACC or the Pac-12. As a matter of fact, Auburn has hosted Washington State a couple of times as well. And it just gives a different feel. It gives that real deal college football atmosphere and feel, especially when you start talking about the home field advantage with crowd noise, with momentum shifts, the different emotions of the game, and also the different emotions that goes on in the opponent's mind. You know, like I said before, the intimidation factor is definitely there when you have that home-to-home series, and it just makes for a more interesting game in that regard. But then when we look at the opportunities for these teams, the Power 5 teams, to play one another, I think is absolutely great for college football, especially when you have, you know, Auburn taking on Oregon. Now, Alabama and Duke is not quite as intriguing as we would like for it to be, but we also have some really nice home-to-home games happening with LSU taking on Texas. I think that's going to be a very, very good football game. We also look at Notre Dame taking the trip down to Athens. What an interesting atmosphere that will be. As a matter of fact, that's going to be huge for the SEC and for the Georgia football fan base. Big shout out to the Georgia Bulldogs. Go Dogs. But anyway, not really. But anyway, like I said before, I much rather, if it's me, I like the home to home. I'm not like, I like the the Auburn and Washington game last year. That one was pretty cool, and of course it was all but a home game, as Atlanta is literally an hour away from Auburn. Matter of fact, I actually knew someone who crazily commuted from Auburn to Atlanta to work. Kind of interesting story there. But anyway, like the comment, like the video, and go ahead and comment how you feel. What are your thoughts about neutral site games? I kind of, was doing a little film study on Oregon last night and kind of thought of this concept. So, once again, it's Case to the Go for Vernon Speak Sports. We talk Auburn football nonstop, all but every day, over here at Vernon Speak Sports Auburn. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. War Eagle.